Hello, everybody. 5 people are already watching? Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the very first episode of the latest Teacup for One movie marathon for the month of June. We're going into the epic, adventurous realm of Indiana Jones. That's right, in preparation for the 5th and probably final ever Indiana Jones film, which is coming out either at the end of this month or like the beginning of next month. We are working up to that by watching our way through every single Indiana Jones movie over the next 4 weeks. So of course tonight we are starting with the classic, the original, the favorite of many, Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's definitely a movie, and we're going to talk about it today. So first, let's see who we have here in the comments. We have my cat Eliza. This looks better than last week's movie marathon topic. Eliza, you're too young to appreciate Stephen Sondheim, and you're a cat. I know you prefer the work of Andrew Lloyd Webber. Sabrina has to say, hello, people. This looks like it could be amusing. See, it is amusing. Sabrina knows. Sabrina has taste. Eliza says, Sabrina, we're watching Outlaw Chickens tonight. What? Is that a new show? The cats are watching a new show. Okay. Oh, and my mom's here. Martha. Woo! Well, there we go. Let's see who else we have in the chat. Nobody. Usually Vince is here. Well, guess what? Vince is here for real tonight. Look.
Hey!
It's Vince.
I brought Vince.
I'm so excited. Vince, welcome.
Oh, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, I'm thrilled. Is it everything you thought it would be?
I think so. I mean, I was expecting Alex and Jeanette to be here.
They're coming. I just don't know when.
They're coming.
I'm so excited, man. I feel like I'm seeing stars. You know?
You are. Her name is Lisa.
Oh, that's true.
That's smooth, Matt.
And Matt. There we are. Brilliant. Well, Vince, welcome. So just since you're like a first timer here on screen, tell us who are you?
Look, I'm just a man. You know, I was born in East York, Ontario, but I spent my life in Scarborough. Nice. And, I went to film school maybe 10 years ago.
Which one?
Centennial College, the film and broadcasting program.
Fancy. I went to York for film school.
Oh, right on. That's serious stuff.
Yeah, exciting. Did you get to watch Indiana Jones in film school?
We did not. No, they sat us through stuff like Battleship Potemkin.
Oh, yeah, we watched that. And what else? Persona was another fan favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good times. Yeah, I can't remember any of the other movies. Oh, no, Riddles of the Sphinx. Did you get to sit through Riddles of the Sphinx by Laura Mulvey?
No, I've seen Mysteries of the Sphinx but that's a documentary. I think that's
no. Laura Mulvey's Riddles of the Sphinx. It's 13. I think it's 13. It's 13 shots that are just very slow, 360-degree panoramas of women in the 70s existing in various domestic settings to make a comment on the role that women are expected to play in society and how like monotonous and boring it is. And the movie is also quite monotonous and boring. And at the very end, you get to see these little like metallic blobs work their way through a maze, and then eventually they unite in the center. And evidently that was tacked on to the end as her way of saying, if you wanted a conventional narrative of two things coming together to make sense, here it is. And I'm spoon feeding it to you. And I was like, ironically, that was my favorite part. So what does that say about me?
I like that. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Go Laura Mulvey. Fascinating ideas. Highly recommend everyone read her essay, Visual Pleasure in Narrative Cinema. Don't watch the movie though. Don't not watch Riddles of the Sphinx, but it's no Raiders of the Lost Ark. So there we are. Hooray! So segue, time to talk about, well, actually, no. I need to treat Vince to an opening question since we're here. Vince, what is your favorite stolen artifact in a museum?
That's in a museum.
Yeah. Currently or ever. If it's been returned, all the better.
Right off the top of my head, I'm gonna go with Nefertiti's bust.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Good choice.
Very nice. Yes.
But if we're going to talk about stuff that isn't currently in a museum but has been stolen over the course of history, I got to go with the Holy Grail.
Oh, yeah.
Like, come
on. That's real?
The jury's still out on it, isn't it?
It's an iconic item. Like, yeah.
There have definitely been items that people believed were the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I haven't done that deep dive yet. I'm like, I'll probably learn about that in 2 weeks when we get to The Last Crusade. But like, I learned more about the Ark today than I ever cared to, kind of in preparation for the game, but we'll get there when we get there. Yeah. Lisa, what's your favorite stolen artifact in the museum?
I'm gonna go real with y'all tonight. All of the indigenous artifacts in the museums currently. Yeah.
Yep.
Apparently, there is one totem pole out west that is being returned to an indigenous tribe, I think in BC.
Nice.
Which is very exciting. But yeah, give
back all the things to all the people.
If you have the pictures, keep the pictures. Give back the actual items.
Make the replicas.
You can make the replicas. I was out east in Halifax last week or 2 weeks ago, and I saw a lot of replicas of petroglyphs, which were
petroglyph.
Petroglyphs. Well, you can describe a petroglyph.
Well, you brought it up.
Well, you do better.
It's basically like an etching or an imprint in stone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they're usually, I don't know, over like hundreds of years old.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones that I saw were just replicas, like sketches of them, but yet they still had like the carvings taken out of the earth and put on display in the museum. So I always just think, just take the pictures.
Take the pictures. And also, I went so long into my adult life not realizing that dinosaur skeletons were mostly plaster casts of the real thing. It didn't take once I found out, it kind of shattered the reality, and I was sad. But when I didn't know, it didn't make a difference. I thought it was a dinosaur. Just don't tell people.
Yeah, just don't tell people. Just be like, hey, it is a dinosaur.
Yeah. There it is. Except apparently, and this is a good thing, it just wasn't great when I was researching for the game. But I think the ROM has said that they're not going to display stolen artifacts, or they've made that commitment. I don't know if they've stuck to it.
How can you make that commitment?
Are they going to close their doors?
It's a solid question. Yeah. I mean, I haven't been there in a long time. I'd like to think that the stuff they have was given to them. Like all the ancient Egypt stuff. Egypt just said, Canada, you can have it.
Yikes.
So who knows? Yeah. Yay. It belongs in a museum. Does it, Indy? So yeah, Raiders of the Lost Ark. This is a movie that I don't know. Well, no, we'll get into it. We'll get into my thoughts on it. But Vince, classic opening question that we'll start with you. Please tell us, recount for us how you discovered this film and what it meant to you nostalgically.
All right. So it really starts for me with something that has nothing to do with Indiana Jones.
Good.
The Chipmunks. I had a VHS tape of Alvin and the Chipmunks parodying an Indiana Jones thing, and it was called Daytona Jones.
Nice.
And the Pearl of Wisdom.
Nice.
And it was basically a retelling of Raiders of the Lost Ark in 35-40 minutes. And you know what? I loved it. I wore out the VHS when I was a kid. And then my dad picked up the Indiana Jones trilogy on VHS, and we burned through it in a week. And
oh my gosh.
It scared the hell out of me when I was a kid.
But it scares me now. The guy's face melts right off. Like a candle.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into the second and third ones, but they have scary stuff in it too.
Oh yeah, no, we'll get there. You have to come back.
You're at the month.
I would love to, as long as this goes well.
Yes, brilliant. At least 4 to 5 weeks, but yeah, wonderful. Lisa, was this your first time watching it for this?
I actually only watched it a few weeks ago because Vince wanted to watch it. I have no nostalgic claim to.
Neither do I. Okay, I'm glad to discover.
Zero. Isn't there like a ride at Universal?
No, there's a ride in Disneyland in California, and there's a show at Hollywood Studios in Florida.
Okay, I think I've been on the ride at Disneyland then, and I loved it, but I have no other ties. I remember my dad loves action movies. Mm-hmm. So he would watch he would watch it when it came on TV, but he was never like a huge fan of it. Probably because I don't know, the female leads are not written that well, and he appreciates a good female lead. And I just remember, well, if my dad doesn't like it, I don't like it.
That's fair.
So,
Yeah, I have no nostalgic connection to it either. I don't think I saw Raiders in full until high school. Because as a child, one of my really good friends liked all the movies a lot, but I didn't trust his taste because like this was the type of kid who was watching the It movie with the scary murderous clown like when he was 5 or 6, and so he really liked scary stuff. So I assumed everything that he watched was just not a thing I had any interest in. And one of those things was Indiana Jones. And actually, one time I saw him watching part of a movie, it was Temple of Doom when they specifically tore the guy's heart out. So for me, that was another moment of no, not into Indiana Jones, which ironically, Temple of Doom is now my favorite out of all the indie movies, but whatever. Okay, we'll dig into what that means next week. But yeah, my first time seeing Raiders in full was in high school because our law teacher, I think, Mr. Pettigrew. Did you have him, Lisa? Was he there when you were there? Oh no, he left.
I had Tosh.
He left before you got there because he was like such a good teacher. I think he was hired by the board to like teach other teachers how to be a better teacher. Like he was the best teacher. Everyone loved Mr. Pettigrew. But for whatever. Yeah. Oh yeah, Ian Pettigrew. The legacy lives on. For some reason, he showed us Raiders in class. It had nothing to do with what we were learning, and everyone had nostalgic love for it except for me. And like one of the girls in my class specifically, because all the girls were in love with Mr. Pettigrew, she wrote "Love You" on her eyelids the day after he showed us the movie, and went to class like that.
Wow, what a heartthrob he must have been.
Yeah, everyone loved Pettigrew, but I have more nostalgic claim for how much my class liked the movie and like just loved having Mr. Pettigrew as a teacher than I enjoyed the film. I remember sitting and being really confused and at lunch asking my friends, why did the guys melt? Why did the Ark melt that guy?
Yeah.
And my friend's answer was, it's because God doesn't like Nazis. I was like, doesn't seem like a good answer. But well, I mean, like it is a good answer. But like I feel like the Ark doesn't know what a Nazi they are. It just felt very like it's gonna attack and melt anyone's face, is the vibe that I got from that Ark. Like
right.
Nazi or not, it was a very aggressive Ark.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've revisited the movie a few times since then. And this is the hot take that I've come up with.
I love Matt's hot takes.
Yeah, this is my hot take. I don't think it's a bad movie by any means. I give it like a 7. I'd give it a 7. I think it's a very good kids movie, which I mean in the best way possible. I think it's a child's movie. I think it has roots in children's well, that's the whole thing. Like the whole movie is it's an homage to 30/40 serial films, which were made mostly for kids going to the movies on like Saturday afternoons when their parents would just drop them off, when movie going culture was something really fun and special. And like, not just you go see one movie, it was here's like, give them a quarter and then you could just sit in the theater for hours on end and watch whatever lineup they had. And it wouldn't just be like a feature film. It'd be a feature film and like a newsreel and then a cartoon and then serial films that you had to go back every week. It was basically TV before we had TV. And they were all very action adventure-y. And they are the types of things that George Lucas and Spielberg went to as kids that they had a lot of nostalgia for. So when they started making movies, they thought, we want to make something like this. And that's what they did with Raiders. And so to me, it has the love of people trying to recapture what they enjoyed watching as kids. And I think that joy carries over if you discover this movie as a child. And even just keeping that in mind, I watched this a little bit kind of in pieces over the past few days, and it felt so appropriate to the style of the movie because it is like tiny serialized moments. Like the opening sequence is its own tiny short film of like getting the gold thing and then the boulder chasing him. And it's just a collection of adventures and really cool action sequences that are just kind of that. It just feels a little repetitive of like the Nazis are closing in. Let's escape them in a really cool way. Now these other bad guys are closing in. Let me shoot them. And then the faces melt off. So I think if you don't have the childhood connection to it, I don't know that it holds up as well. But I don't know. That's my opening statement. I allow Vince to rebuttal.
You got me thinking now, man. Is the only reason I enjoy this movie because I watched it when I was a kid? Now I don't know. It really left an imprint on me. There's no doubt about it. But like, I think I wouldn't call it a kids movie, but I hear what you're saying. I think it's it's really a classic popcorn film, you know? It's like the summer blockbuster, you know? We don't really see too much of that. Well, I don't know. We don't really see too much of that sort of film anymore.
Yeah.
But is it a kids film? That's a good question.
I don't think it's a kids film. There's some like scary stuff in there.
It's kind of scary, but I think it's kid level scary. Like it's the kind of stuff that a really ambitious 7-year-old would find kind of at the brink of what they're able to handle horror wise.
But isn't there like that weird storyline where that guy is like trying to like assault the main woman?
Oh, Belloc?
Yeah. Like that's not a kid's story. I would never add that. Yeah.
Hey, we all saw Hunchback of Notre Dame. Judge Frollo was thinking equally corrupt things.
Oh my God.
Any parent wanting to show this film to their kid is going to be faced with the problem of having to explain World War II to some degree to their child.
Yeah.
Sound of Music, though.
Is that a kid's movie, though?
I mean, I watched Sound of Music as a kid. Like, that was like my first introduction to World War II. And like, that's how my parents talked about World War II, and it led to like Anne Frank and the Nazis and all that stuff. So yeah, maybe
no, like I think like light introductions to World War II for kids aren't inappropriate, just depending on what the material is. Like I don't think anyone should go showing like a kid Schindler's List by any means. Which granted, I've never seen it. I'm assuming it's not a kid appropriate movie.
No,
but no.
I wouldn't say like having to explain World War II to your kids is inappropriate subject matter, but I think that elevates it a little bit over a kid's film. Okay. Like you're entering like adolescent films. Is that a thing? Probably not.
No, yeah. Like there's like PG, and then PG-13.
It is a PG-13 masterpiece.
Or maybe it's a G, it's like not a G movie, but a PG movie, like parental guidance suggested.
Is this the movie that created PG-13?
I don't know.
I need to look it up. Vince, keep giving your thoughts, and I'm listening, but I want to look up. I think it might have been this movie that created PG-13.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's something for everyone to enjoy. You know, I wouldn't characterize it as like an exclusive kids film, but a kid can watch it and have a great time. But an adult can watch it and have a completely different takeaway. I would put it in the same category as something like Back to the Future.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Well, Back to the Future has that whole like kissing his mom.
Kissing mom.
Which I mean, PG.
Yeah. Evidently, it was Temple of Doom and Gremlins that both jointly created PG-13. So it was still within the Indiana Jones sphere, as it were. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a kids movie, air quote, kids movie in the sense of, like I said, the nostalgic factor for those who made it. And then I think it appeals to kids or to younger people. Well, all people, but I think a big appeal for kids is just how action-packed it is and how cool it is to just see the visuals and the sequences that are happening. And especially because it moves at such a quick pace and it goes from like section to section. Like there's always something new that's happening probably every 5 to 10 minutes. That's kind of its own self-contained little story and little sequence, which is fun and exciting. I think in terms of the format, I think it's a good gateway movie, I feel, for kids into something maybe a little bit more adult than what they're used to watching.
Yeah.
Good way of putting it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good lead into like other more mature action movies.
Yeah, like I think the equivalent for me would be The Mummy, the Brendan Fraser Mummy movie. Which I can't remember how old I was when it came out or when I saw it, but it was the first movie for me that was in that action adventure sphere that had horror elements that I, for whatever reason, was able to handle when I didn't think I would, because most movies scared me. But yeah, I feel like most people feel about Raiders the way that I do about The Mummy with Brendan Fraser, because I haven't seen it in a long time, but I feel if I revisited it now, it might not hold up as well as I remembered, but I would still love it because like nostalgic factor plus just campy archaeological fun with monsters.
Yeah, I love both movies. I do feel that The Mummy is more campy, but that might be personal bias on my part. You know, it's really interesting because The Mummy, you know, you got more jokes and more of a lighthearted feel to it, but that might just be the fact that it was made in the early 2000s or late 1990s. I'm not sure. But there's like a 20-year difference between the release of the two films. So I wonder if Raiders of the Lost Ark was released in the early 2000s, would it feel more or less like The Mummy?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, I feel the same way I feel about The Mummy as I do this movie. That I don't have a lot of nostalgic claim to it, but I love the ride at Universal.
And that ride I was too scared to go on because it's a coaster. I don't like coasters.
Oh my god, it's so good. Oh,
That's what everyone says. And
It's
maybe one day. Maybe one day.
it's one of the best. One of the best.
Yeah, but Lisa, how do you feel about it as someone who probably between the three of us, not even probably, you came to it the latest in your life? Because I think I was 16 when I saw it, and you've seen it now like in your 20s.
Yeah, a few months ago.
Mhm.
Late 20s. Yeah. I don't know. I actually, well, we can discuss this next week, but I do like the second movie much better. This one, I don't know. It wasn't. I don't know. Like, it was a good introduction to who Indiana was, and like who his character was, and the type of adventures he goes on. But I don't like. I would give it a solid like 6.5. But I recognize that I don't have, like, I didn't watch it as a kid and I don't have that history with it. But it is better than Peter Pan 2003. So yeah.
So I don't understand the hate. I love that movie. Although that's how I feel about Pinocchio, Disney Plus Pinocchio. So, and I think I'm a minority there.
But I think that's the thing that
No,
you like it so much.
I just want to say that I also think Pinocchio is one of the worst films ever made.
The worst movie I've seen in my life, probably. Yeah.
Which one?
The new one.
The Tom Hanks one.
Disney one, not the
Tom
Guillermo
Hanks.
one.
Okay.
Oh, not Guillermo. The Guillermo one was beautiful. Beautiful.
No, the reason why, okay, I feel like if I watch, again, I will state this on the record. If I watched Peter Pan 03, I would have, like, as a kid, I would have loved it. And reviewing it in my 20s, I probably would have had a different take on it. But because I watched it in my 20s, it doesn't tug on my heartstrings, and I don't get it. With Indiana Jones, I kind of do get it. I kind of do get it. I kind of get the adventure. I get the whole hero's journey. It's cool. I just think that there are some problematic elements to it, and it doesn't hold up to the test of time. That's all.
Oh, yeah. I was more attuned or more aware of certain problematic things in this viewing, just especially with how liberal he is with killing people.
Yeah.
Like,
okay, hang on.
Yeah.
Granted, I mean, I do know that most of them are Nazis that he kills. So, like, yes. And also I noticed that, like, right after the guy gets killed by the helicopter blade, they show the swastika just as a reminder of, yes, this is really gruesome, but Nazi. Right. I'm like, but yes. But like, he just shoots that guy in the market.
Yeah, I do want to comment on that, because specifically in the scene where he was stealing the van with the Ark in it, and he's knocking Nazis off the truck, he's running people over, and every time he kills someone, it cuts to him, and he's smiling. He's loving every second of it.
Because he's killing bad guys.
And you never see, it's such a rare thing to see Harrison Ford smile and enjoy his role these days. So to go back, Raiders of the Lost Ark, see him killing Nazis in his element, it's a joy. It's an absolute joy to watch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think the killing the Nazis is the problematic part for me. I say, kill the bad guys. It's fine.
Yeah. But then also, we don't know the details of his backstory with Marion, but it doesn't sound great.
That's a good question. Okay, what's everyone's thoughts on this?
She was a child. She was in love. It was wrong, and he knew it.
Took advantage of her.
Not to mention, he was sleeping with his co-worker's daughter, and that, like, Abner Ravenwood was like his archaeological mentor.
Yeah,
like that's almost like sleeping with your sister or something. That's weird.
No, I don't think it's the same thing, but it's
inappropriate.
It's crossing a line that I think did this come out in the 70s, 80s?
81.
80s.
In the 80s, folks would have been whatever. But watching it now, I'm like, I could never allow that. That's so wild. You would never see that in a movie.
No. No, they're just, it would have been so easy to just make a slight tweak to have the character exist almost exactly as she does, but not have it be as weird.
Gross.
Because I love the character and I love Karen Allen.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, she was good.
She's a shining star.
she is a shining star.
Yeah.
And like, I'm excited for Crystal Skull just to see her come back again. We have to wait 2 more movies for more
Yep.
Karen Allen.
She is the only one that kept me going through the movie.
Yeah.
I will say that.
I really like Sala. I think he was a good
Oh, yeah.
character.
Who was Sala?
He was Indy's friend when they were working in Egypt.
Oh, yeah,
He had
yeah.
the beard. Funny
Yeah.
guy. Great
Yeah.
singing voice.
Good singing voice. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Is
But
that the one who kisses Marion when she leaves?
Oh,
um,
yeah. But
Marion-
Marion
Justice-
kisses him.
Well,
Marion,
yeah. But like, is there something going on there that I missed? Is there like a lovely romantic backstory between those two? Because I want to know what that is.
that's a good question. Could be a
Mhm.
deleted scene.
I don't know. All I know is justice for Miriam. I want her to go into therapy to deal with all the men that have taken advantage of her.
And her bar burnt down.
I
Not, like they
know.
just gloss over that. Her livelihood is gone. Also, she didn't seem to care that much. She was like, well, now I'm going on the adventure.
Yeah. Oh, Miriam.
Yeah. Yeah. The writing for that character is not
Not the
great,
greatest.
but
Yeah.
I look past it because of how good Karen Allen is. Like, I don't really notice it in the moment because I'm just so invested in it. But then when I think back, things like, oh, yeah, the bar just totally is gone.
Yeah.
And so is her business. And she's just going for the ride. But yeah. Yeah.
Are either of you reminded of Elaine Bennis from Seinfeld? when you see
You've
her?
said this.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
I see
What?
Elaine Bennis from Seinfeld, and then you got the evil Nazi who looks like German George Costanza.
Julie Louis Dreyfus does not look like.
No.
No,
No, I don't.
No.
I
An
think you're
evil
alone.
Nazi to me looks like Judge Doom from Roger Rabbit. That's what I always think of.
Christopher Lloyd.
Yes. And in
my
fact, I'm convinced that there's a multiverse where he is, in fact, a tune. Like,
That's so funny.
yes. That's why he melts in such a dramatic way. I don't feel like a human would melt that way.
That's a good point because his melting experience seemed fundamentally different than everyone else's.
Exactly. The other guy's face is caved in
Because he was the most evil of them all.
because he was a tune. And now we know. There it is.
There it
Now-
is.
Are either of you familiar with the Big Bang Theory's statement on this movie?
No.
No.
So there's an episode where Amy ruins Raiders of the Lost Ark for Sheldon and everybody because she points out one thing about the movie that they can't get over, which kind of ruined the movie for me as well, which is
Oh.
that Indiana Jones is basically useless, like the character. Everything that happens plot-wise would happen with or without him.
That's yeah. I get that.
The Nazis would still get the Ark with or without him. They would still open it with or without him. They would still melt with or without him. He's really useless. He does nothing in this movie.
You're just a pretty boy.
They probably wouldn't have even found the Ark if it wasn't for him.
Oh no, they would have. It just would have been easier for them because they would have had the actual medallion and not just the burnt imprint. So they would have found it faster.
Oh,
Interesting.
yeah, that's rough.
Look, I'm okay with Harrison Ford's character being like so abysmal, like not necessary, just for the looks. That's fine. It was fine.
Good looking man.
He's not as good looking as Karen. So
It's like it's the predecessor to the Mummy. Just everyone's too attractive. Not too attractive, but like everyone's like super attractive in this movie.
yeah, that's the unrealistic
That
thing
is a
here.
very attractive cast.
It is.
There we go. There we
Yeah.
go. So yeah, this movie walked so that the Mummy could run.
Amen.
Even though,
Amen.
well, I don't know that the Mummy is objectively a better movie than this because there are a lot of filmic things about this film I think are really beautiful. Like the cinematography is great, which is something I was more attuned to, especially like the shadow work. The way that they incorporate that into the image composition is really gorgeous, and yeah, it's a really beautiful movie to look at.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Just the way that the shots are composed, and even like there's one shot where like the Nazi flag, it starts where you think it's just a blackout, but then it pulls back and then it reveals that I think they're on the boat at that point. I can't remember. There's so many places and travel devices in this movie. I got confused.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or not got confused. I lost interest.
It's I find like the points of action to be very plentiful.
Mhm.
And that's fine, but I feel like it was a very showy movie, like for all the action.
Yeah.
Which I need a strong plot to get me through.
Well, yeah, I think that's the thing. I was reflecting on why do I like Star Wars more? Because I have the same experience with Star Wars. I had no childhood connection to it. I discovered Star Wars as a teenager, basically, and then got invested when Disney bought them because I have drank the Disney Kool-Aid. I thought, well, Force Awakens is coming out. I should rewatch the originals just to prep. And then I realized that I do actually enjoy the franchise and the movies. And I think it's because Star Wars has plot, as it were. Like it has, or not even plot. I don't want to say it has substance where Indiana Jones doesn't. But if you look at New Hope as the first movie to kick off the franchise versus this one, New Hope, there's a lot of lore that they explore in ways that I wish this movie explored. Like if this movie dug more into what this film's lore was surrounding the Ark, instead of just saying 10 Commandments, you know what that is. We don't have to say anything else. I'm like, no, tell me why it melts people. And like, I know there's a deleted scene that kind of digs into that. Put that scene back. Like the scene when they're at the university, I want more of that.
Well, this is why I love the second movie, because I think the second movie goes into the lore of that adventure so much more than Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like, I love a good backstory. Like, set me up for success at the beginning of the movie. Don't give me young Alfred Molina and leave it at that.
That was a great cameo.
It was such a great cameo. I love Alfred Molina. Oh my gosh.
Was there anyone else in that beginning scene that I was like, whoa?
No, I always wondered who played Jacques, the pilot. I thought that was a cameo, but I don't think it is.
No, Jacques, the character, has kind of cemented his own legacy. So, like, that actor is just Jacques Lindsay. Like he has his own restaurant in Disney Springs. That's how much everyone loves Jacques Lindsay. Yeah, it's called Jacques Lindsay's Hangar Bar.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's an Indiana Jones themed restaurant / bar, and it's meant to be that Jacques Lindsay just has a bar.
Does the actor work there? Or...
No. Like, I'm sure he's not benefiting from this financially whatsoever. But
if only they have an impersonator.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so sad.
I just love that the guy knows that his buddy Indy is afraid of snakes, and he still keeps one in the plane.
It's Reggie. It's just Reggie.
He looked harmless.
So we've mentioned snakes. What is everyone's favorite life or death sequence in this film? Because there are so many of them.
Oh my god.
Vince, you go first.
I gotta go with the fist fight in front of the plane with the big German bald guy.
Yeah,
which culminates in the propeller. Oof.
It's a good one. It just makes me too anxious because they're so close to the propellers.
I love it for that exact reason. And once the the gas starts pouring out, and you know something's gonna happen. Oh,
it's a good one.
There's nothing better. The suspense.
It's shot really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that one makes me nervous more so, even though I know that the actors didn't die on set. It just looks too real. It looks too real, where I'm thinking Harrison Ford and the big German guy as actors might not have been as safe as I would like to think they were on set, because it was 1980 when they were shooting this. And like the Twilight Zone movie tragedy hadn't happened yet, as far as I know. So safety was a lot more lax. And I'm just glad no one actually died by a propeller. There we are.
Can we explain to the folks at home and me what this controversy in the Twilight Zone is?
Oh my god, you don't know this?
You don't know.
It's
really sad.
So sad. Okay, so I'll add in any details I'm missing that. But Twilight Zone, the amazing long-running TV show, was turned into a movie.
Right.
And I think they were shooting, was it like an alien or a swamp monster? I think it was an alien.
No, it was the first. So the movie is an anthology of like 4 mini Twilight Zone episodes. The first one was about a guy. He kind of, I think I might be misremembering this. I feel like he's really racist and bigoted. And then he goes kind of back in time, and like it's the same actor, but he's treated like all of the races and or people that he was like hateful towards in the beginning. And then there's a sequence where he has like a kind of change of heart. And then I think it might be Vietnam, where he's rescuing 2 kids and then running away from a plane. But basically in real life, the plane killed the actor and the 2 kids.
Yeah, so it was a helicopter. They had like an actual
Yeah.
helicopter in the soundstage.
Oh my god.
And without doing the proper like safety precautions, the propeller like hit or like it tore off, and there was like a lagoon kind of thing in it. And yeah, it was an electric fire, and a lot of people got away but with injuries.
Crap.
Yeah, and it was like, I can't remember who the actor was, but he was like a pretty top tier A-lister.
Yeah, it was
Jennifer Jason Leigh's father, apparently.
Oh, yeah. See, this is the.
Oh, hey, Jude.
Hey, Jude.
Hey, Jude. I don't know who you are. Thank you for watching.
Who's your friend?
Hi, Jude.
Yeah.
Hold on, we have a new friend who just joined us. Look, everyone, it's Jeanette.
Hello.
Jeanette, look, it's Vince.
Hello. Finally.
Great to
Face.
meet you. How's it going?
Hello. It's good to see you.
Great to see you too.
He's been like so starstruck with everybody on the show. So he's very excited to meet you all.
This is great. I'm meeting my idols here.
We're so happy to meet you.
Yes.
You're not just a little circle next to some
I
lights.
know.
I appreciate the love.
Love it. So yeah, Jeanette, welcome to Raiders.
Yes, I'm so
discussion.
excited for Indiana Jones.
So okay, good. You're Team Vince. You're in Team Vince.
Oh yeah, are there people who are not yay for Indiana Jones?
I'm down. It's just not my favorite Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, I can see that.
So like a quick recap. Vince loves it and has loved it for like most of his life, and he has the childhood connection that Lisa and I are lacking, as it were. My theory was that, and this was my hot take that I opened the show with. I said that Raiders of the Lost Ark is an exceptionally good kids film, but that it is a movie for children or made for children. Then I went into more detail, but that was my surface level statement that we dug into a little bit, and I said
it's a very bloody children's movie.
That's what I said.
It's a very bloody children. I mean, I have no problem with that. I was watching Goodfellas at the age of 4, but whatever.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
See, Jeanette, you're like the friend that I said I had as a kid who watched really bloody movies, and I assumed that I wouldn't like Indiana Jones because like he was watching it with Pennywise the Clown when he was 4 and 5. And so so I stayed away from this movie till high school. But yeah, I think Indiana Jones, if you don't have the nostalgic connection, it doesn't hold up in the same way. And I think that this movie is. Yeah. And I remember really enjoying Temple of Doom. So I don't think I have this opinion about the whole franchise, but as the kickoff movie, like I think it's a lot of really good action sequences and fun action sequences, but there's stuff that I'm missing. Like Lisa and I were saying earlier that we'd like more development for the lore. Like I want to know more about what this movie has to say about the arc.
I do feel like this movie of all of them has the least depth, if you want to call it that. Like, and are you looking for that in an Indiana Jones movie? I don't know. I mean, like if you are, that's great. But you might find it in the next 2, but it's not here. This movie is it's a very, of all of them, it's the most basic. And the thing that I have to keep reminding myself about every time I watch it and realize that, I'm like, I really thought there was more meat here. What happened? And then I look at it, I always think it's later than 81, but it's 81.
It's 81.
And like, look at some action movies from the late 70s. Like, it all adds up. It's, I mean, there's not this deep character development that we're looking for and that we get, I feel, later down the road. But yeah, I like this movie. I love this movie. It's more about like vibes and feels, I think, than it is about like, I was on the edge of my seat. Like, I'm so riveted. It's like, no, I don't think I'm riveted by this one necessarily. It's just a really good movie.
Yeah, no, it's a fun movie. It's a fun movie. Yeah. So Jeanette, do you also have the childhood connection? I feel like you touched on that. You remember?
Yes.
Tell us, how'd you discover it?
I feel like we always had a VHS of it in my house. For some reason, I feel like I saw one of these movies in theaters. I don't know if I didn't look up to see if any of them had a re-release at some point in the early 90s, but that would have presumably been when I went with my dad to see it. And I could be mistaken. But I do remember watching this a lot on VHS or on TV, wherever it was playing. If it was on, my dad would watch it. So it was another one along with like Tron and stuff like that, where it was like if my dad was watching it, I was watching it.
Nice. And do you have a favorite sequence, like a favorite "we almost died" sequence? That's what we were discussing right before we moved into Twilight Zone and tragedy.
Yeah. So in this Indiana Jones specifically, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I guess it counts into that because it's kind of part of the same sequence. But the guy we're talking about, the propeller, like they get off the plane, and I love how easily he gets her out of a cockpit, right? Like out of it, off of the thing, onto a wing, and off of a moving plane. Yet this poor soul is standing in one place on the ground and could not move. It was I feel like the people who wrote Austin Powers watched this scene before that scene with the big steamroller, and they're like, that's it. That's what we need. That guy right there.
That is it. That's so funny.
I forgot about
So
that,
yeah, that sequence, because it is like a they almost died thing because the plane's gonna blow up and he can tell that. But really, did they? Because I mean, I think it's hilarious how jauntily, and not even jaunty, like just kind of happily and merrily they get off of the plane. They're just like scooting down the wing, like I'm waiting for like an inflatable slide to come out like a modern plane. They're taking their time so much. I'm like, okay. So yeah, that's probably it.
Nice. Lisa, what's your favorite "we almost died" sequence?
The classic Boulder
classic.
scene. That is what I knew going into the movie, what
Yeah.
to expect. It's that one.
Yeah, no, I think the opening sequence is just so good. It sets up like everything that the rest of the movie is going to be.
Yeah.
I feel, and like you get booby traps, you get betrayal, you get other adversaries, you get a cool shiny golden thing, shiny da 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 da. It's Moana. Yeah, and then a rolling boulder and dead Alfred Molina. Like,
do you know, it took me until this viewing to realize where Alfred Molina was in this movie. I didn't even it never dawned on me because I think I've only ever seen, like, I don't know how young he was here, but I've only ever seen him older than that. I don't think I've ever seen Alfred Molina that young.
What a cute guy.
I know, right? I was like, oh my gosh.
No, and I didn't realize it was him. I just thought, why does he look so familiar? And then I had to look it up, and then it all came together. I was like, oh yeah, he was young once.
It was the first time I noticed his name in the credits at the beginning either. I was like, wow.
Oh, he gets credited at the
is.
beginning for that?
I was like, Alfred Molina, he's not in this movie. What the hell is he in this movie?
Surprise. There it is. Delightful. So let's talk about the Ark. The Ark confuses me in this movie ever so much. I mean, I have a baseline understanding of it because I endured 8 years of Catholic school up until grade 8 before I decided I hate this. And then I went to a public art school, which was a very opposite and much better experience educationally. But like, what's the deal with the Ark? Why does it melt people? Does the movie tell us?
It's the power of God, right? Isn't that what they say?
From my recollection with the 10 Commandments, with what's his name?
Charlton Heston.
Charlton Heston.
Does that happen in the 10 Commandments?
No. But I think it's linked with the burning bush that like God talks to Moses through, and somehow that power is transformed into the Ark. I have no idea.
The voice of God is always quite destructive, it seems, and no matter what like canon you're going to. So maybe it is. He did say it was a what did he call it?
A radio for talking to.
Yeah.
That was the other thing. They never talked to God. God just sent melting angels.
There was that one ghost that was like a good-looking lady, and then she turned into a skeleton face, and then everyone died. So was that God?
I was trying to figure out if those were souls or sirens or angels. I don't think I've ever stopped to wonder. Like, I think that scene just always comes into my head, and I'm like, oh yeah, then there's things flying around, and it's very Ghostbustery for a second.
Yes, that's what it reminds me of. It is so Ghostbustery.
Yes.
There's the same types of special effects too when they're showing like the cloud that comes out the top
and
into the sky. It looks a lot like Ghostbusters.
It's Zool.
Yeah, it looks a lot like that. And the same effect with like the backwards motion that they do with it. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's all I could think about this time. I was like, I don't think I've ever focused on like what's actually happening here.
And even the shot of the ark sealing itself shut again, it's campy, it's cute. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the ark is so interesting to me because they never really explain this in the movie, but there's a theory that I kind of like that the Ark of the Covenant contains within it ancient technology that used decaying uranium. So that's where all these reports of like people opening the box and like they get radiation poisoning.
Face melting off.
Ooh. Okay.
So that's interesting.
Yeah.
There's also like local folklore in Ethiopia claims that there are several churches in Ethiopia that possess the Ark of the Covenant, like in their basement.
Mhm.
And the common thing is that they're always guarded by someone who has the job of the guardian of the Ark for life.
Mhm.
They always end up blind with cataracts. So that
Really?
it's very interesting. You can look into it if you want.
I do want, and I
I'm
will.
gonna fact check this.
Yeah, one of the more prominent hypothesized locations is it's in a lake called Tana Kirkos. So
Okay.
it's at the mouth of the Blue Nile River in Ethiopia.
Ooh.
So start your research there.
That sounds like an Indiana Jones plot right there.
I know.
absolutely.
The Blue Nile and Ethiopia. Sounds great.
So obviously the movie doesn't go in that direction. They make it clear that it's more magic than anything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know, there's one picture that they show at one point where it seemed like a laser is coming out of the ark itself.
Yes, I want to talk about the picture in the book with the laser eyes.
Well, they have that part where the guy sees it and he's like over it, right? So I
Mhm.
feel like he is the conduit. He's like what the energy is coming through, and then he opens his mouth and the beam goes through all the people.
Oh, good point.
So I mean, like that's not depicted in the picture.
Is
It's
it
coming
not?
like straight out of the box in the picture,
Oh,
I
right.
think.
Straight out of the
But
box.
Mhm.
I think that's what they're trying to say is like we don't know what
And
the hell
in
this thing
fact,
does.
The drawing of the beam in the picture looks almost identical to the beam of light coming through the staff head when he was above the miniature city.
Yeah.
That's an interesting connection. Maybe they were just reusing a special effect.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, this is okay. Well, I do want to talk about the illustration in the book, but while we're talking about the staff head, I know that it had to be a certain height, but like if you just got into the map room, couldn't you just figure out a line through the city and then just dig in that line? Like, why did it take so long?
Oh, because they didn't have the staff head. Nobody had it. That guy had made a fake one.
But like, if you know
Remember?
where the staff head plugs in, and then you figure out where the sun goes, if you just got like a really long stick and stuck it into there, then
Try
waited
it.
for the sun, then it would give you like.
Yeah,
Like,
but the
yeah, like, it's
measurements
pretty-
are on it. The measurements are on the thing, on the staff head.
But for the
So, like,
height, but not for the.
yeah.
But not for like where physically in the room it goes. Like I think it could still map out a trajectory of like if you bulldoze the length of the city in this exact spot, you'll find the
Oh.
arc. I just feel like it was not good thinking on the part of the people trying to find the arc.
I
They would have
agree.
found it sooner. Yeah. Another
Like I
plot
said,
hole.
plot holes in late 70s, early 80s action movies are plentiful, I feel.
Yes. Oh, Jeanette, this was before you got here. Do you know about how the Big Bang Theory ruined this movie for everybody?
The Big Bang Theory, the
Like the
show
TV
or the
show, yeah.
actual Big Bang? Oh, okay. I was like, wait, hold on. I think so because they talk about something that has to do with like the actual arc, right?
No, Amy points out that the whole movie would happen, like the events would transpire with or without Indiana Jones as a character, and that he's basically useless.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Although,
just
I
think
mean,
that's fine.
what? Because he went to go get the staff head from who's her face? Marion.
From Karen Allen. True. Except if he hadn't done that, then Judge Doom's brother would have gotten the whole thing probably instead of just burning his hand. So he could have just they would have gotten the arc faster.
Huh.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I came up with one thing.
Okay.
Indiana Jones wasn't at the island to retrieve the Ark after all the Nazis died. A second team of Nazis would have shown up after a few months to check up on everything, and they
True.
eventually would have gotten the Ark.
Yeah.
But that's all I can think of. Up till that point, nothing changes.
So you just need someone, not necessarily Indiana, to do it.
Yeah.
To be there, just not a Nazi.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone, not a Nazi.
Yeah. Or Karen. Karen could have just been there.
Exactly. Or the poor
But you meant
monkey.
for a second, I thought you meant a Karen, like
Just a Karen.
like a
Or Karen
what?
could just be there.
A 1940s Karen. Oh my gosh. Well, actually, no. Next week we get a 1940s Karen.
Can
Next
we
week,
talk
that's Kate
about the
Capshaw.
fact that the fashion in this movie is not period at
No,
all.
Correct.
Is
In
it
the
not?
least.
1940s. No, oh my god.
It took place in the late 30s, early 40s, right? It's actually the late 30s, right? Because it's before World War II has actually started. This is all
I think it's
like
1934.
36 or something, 34 or something like that.
It's 36.
The dress
it's
she's
36.
wearing could not look, the one in the middle, not the gown at the end and not the suit she's in at the beginning. The one in the middle could not look any more like you picked it up at an 80s bridal shop if
Yes.
you tried. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't expect everybody to look at women's fashion and go, that's not correct. But that was like markedly not correct at all.
I need the images of it because it's so true. And even like the first thing that you
The
see
first
her in,
outfit is like so 70s. I'm like, what is going on here?
is it the
It's
one
like
with red?
the blue shirt or the red and the
No,
white
the
shirt?
red and white stuff. Yeah, like that is like, I mean, I'm
Yes,
sure
this
they did
one.
have like nice ladies' pants outfits, casual. And if she's living in Nepal, like she doesn't
Right.
care. But that dress, yeah, and that's after they ripped off the bottom. But even with it, that
Yeah.
gusset in the back, that's not happening.
No.
Get out of here.
No.
Like, what is
also
going on?
Even the one with her red
The
shirt,
neckline, the sleeves, none of that.
Like
None of
this?
it.
This is 70s. This is a 70s shirt. The
Look at
peasant
her. She looks like Cher in that picture. Like,
Yeah. What else?
sorry, that's one of the like the special effects actually hold up considering it's 81. Like it's not terrible.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah.
The practicals are
Um,
good.
Oh, yeah,
But
I'm always
the-
here for
the
practical effects.
costuming, and then his leather jacket. Like, yeah, they had leather jackets forever and always, but that leather jacket doesn't read vintage to me at all. I don't know why.
Sorry.
No.
See, I just always watch the movie and think, oh,
It's
this
very
looks so
cool.
1940s. Or 30s. I don't know fashion as well as I should.
Yeah, I don't know. That's always one thing that kills me whenever they bring out that dress. I'm like, what is that? That's not.
Yeah, it was the white and red shirt for me. I was like, that is
Yeah.
not 40s or 30s.
Yeah, except knowing that I kind of like it more. Like this movie is so goofy in some ways that the anachronisms kind of make it more charming
Mm-hmm.
for me. Like I
Like
love
we don't care. We're
anachronisms.
just gonna put her in something peasanty, put her in something pretty, put her
Yeah.
in a nightgown. It doesn't matter if it makes sense.
As long as she's in costume.
Exactly.
Or not in costume.
Yeah, yeah.
This movie's objectifying her enough, Lisa.
I know.
I don't know, man. I
know.
feel like I knew we were gonna get to that. I feel like she uses her feminine wiles very responsibly and uses them to her advantage. I
Mhm.
thought about that too. I was like, okay, let's get to the woman object. That comes in the next one. I feel
Oh my god, I can't wait
that
for
one
the
is
next
bad.
No,
Is it bad?
I cannot wait for the next because I kind of like
Bad.
love it.
I remember her
Oh, I
being
love
really
it.
annoying. Like I remember next week's
She is
girl
annoying,
being
but
really annoying, but I still liked her. Like I thought
Yeah.
she was.
Oh no,
Fine.
she's great.
Yeah.
No, she's great. It's just the way that she
the
it-
things
it's
they
crap.
say, the passing comments.
Oh,
and stuff.
that's fair.
This one, I thought this one, I was like, let me pay real attention to it this time. But I feel like
Mhm.
she's really like, he asked her like 3 times, and where'd you get that from him? Like, I got what I got it. I'm good. Thanks.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I feel like she uses it to her advantage. I'm
It's true.
good with that.
Yeah. Yeah,
She
no, I'm interested to compare next week's person to her because it's been a while since I've seen Temple of Doom, but I feel like next week's character is written to be so obnoxious and so like problematic almost as a purpose that I
Isn't
don't
that
mind it as
Steve?
much from a writing perspective as some of the things that we've already discussed about Marion, like the whole I was a child, you took advantage of me, etc., etc. And I feel like she's minus Karen Allen giving a really good performance, which I've already touched on. I think on paper she's very much like a man writing a female character.
poorly.
Yeah.
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 I don't think if it wasn't for like her acting skill and just her being Karen Allen, like a great actor, it could have gone very wrong.
I feel like she's not so much objectified in this movie as much as she is just like a little bit mentally and maybe physically abused. Like it's like,
That's
and I found you, and I could save you, but I'm not going to. Puts the thing back in her mouth, and then the comment about I was a child.
Yeah.
You took advantage. Like, well, there's really nothing to hide there, is there? She was obviously not of age, so
Justice for
like,
Karen.
Justice for
yeah.
justice for Marion. Like, there's no reason they couldn't have been the same age.
I know.
And that would like
I never thought that watching this. Yeah.
It's more charming if he falls in love with the daughter of his mentor, who is roughly the same age bracket as him. And then
Oh, see, that's a problem in Hollywood.
And at least she
true.
said it's been 10 years since she's seen him. So what's he supposed to be in this, in his 30s?
I feel like he's like late 30s.
So he would have
almost
been in
40s.
his 20s. So presumably she was a teenager.
I feel like it was like an 18, 28, 29 situation.
Yeah, which not unheard of, and not, or it could have been a 26-16 situation, if you get what I mean.
Well,
So,
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't think he's supposed to be almost 40 here. I think he's supposed to be in like his mid 30s. So I'm like,
well,
Yeah.
I when I got to that scene, I looked up how old Harrison Ford actually was when we made the movie. I think he was 39-ish or 40. So I just assumed Indy was that age as well. Yeah.
Harrison
and I think
Ford stayed the same age for about 25 years.
that's true.
From
And Meryl
about
Streep will
Star
always
Wars
be 40.
to The Fugitive, I feel like it's pretty much just the same age.
Same age.
So, do we think it's safe to say that he's also sleeping with all of his students?
Oh, I hope.
I hope so.
No, I hope not. Don't say that.
I certainly hope so.
No,
Why not?
No.
College students.
That's
I think
fine.
College.
he's got at least
College.
every semester.
No, I don't want Indy to be someone who abuses his power as an educator.
I don't think it would have taken much abuse for that to happen if you look at him.
No, people would just be throwing themselves at him.
There's
Well, it's true. She did write "Love You" on her eyes.
Yeah, I'm like, they say that. I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
think that's, we'll get it. I think we got into that. I mentioned that on whenever we went Oz the Great and Powerful. I don't think James Franco did too much wrong, but I won't go there.
Oh, yikes.
Just saying, it's James. It was Harrison Ford, of course.
Yeah.
Although I wonder if they did the "Love You" thing to make a point that he doesn't take advantage of the kids, because he just brushes it off, or he doesn't seem super interested in
I
the
know.
girls that are fawning over him in his class. Almost
What was
like
it,
maybe
81? Kudos to them that they just took that initiative to have a little restraint.
There's a deleted scene where, as Indy and his British friend are leaving the university, one of his students approaches him, and she was like, "Dr. Jones, can I have a word with you?" And in the deleted scene, he says to his British guy, "Wait outside. This is an important conversation. I'll take her to my office."
Is that on the DVD? Like, is that an actual shown deleted scene, or
on
is it?
YouTube? It's a deleted scene that was shot and taken out of the movie.
I thought,
It's on YouTube.
yeah. Why do I feel like I have? Yeah, I do feel like I've seen.
even
that.
the kid who gave him the apple.
Oh
I thought that when the guy was walking out, I was like, were they being open minded? This is so nice. This is great. So nice, refreshing. Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Well, speaking of things that didn't hold up super well, we've already sort of touched on it, but what do you think about what this movie is saying about collecting artifacts for museums? Should the Ark have stayed where it was? Did it belong in a museum? I know that the whole plot point is they have to get it before Germany because obviously Nazis, World War II, we don't want Hitler to have the Ark of the Covenant. But Indy seems almost more invested in taking it for a museum than he does stopping it being used as a weapon of war.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's always a conflict with these, right? With him taking stuff, it's like
Colonization.
right, or like things that are in museum. Yeah, right. Like if it's not a work of art that somebody made, presumably knowing that one day it could be in a museum, like does it need to be there? Is it even okay that it's there? I guess,
It's I don't know. The problem is museums are great for educational purposes, but like I don't know. You're taking something away from a culture. This is a very old, dead, very prominent culture, right? I don't know. I feel like it's more complicated in the second movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one,
Very much
I
so.
care less. Like, take the arc. It's fine.
Yeah, I think if it's in the ground and nobody's using it, sure. But if it's like the
No.
thing, like a thing that the people praise in a certain part of the world, maybe don't take it.
Yeah, it seems that Indy's whole routine is that he goes to other countries, he finds artifacts, and then he brings them back to American museums and sells them. So I guess the film makes the point that it's better off in a museum than it is in a rich guy's private collection. And I know the third movie especially makes that point, the beginning of the third movie. But I don't know. I feel like it's better off being in a museum in like the native country in which it was found.
Yes. Yeah.
But
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think the other thing with this is that, well, in the circumstances of this movie specifically, it's more than just an artifact. It's like a thing that actually has the power to melt people's faces and unleash ghosts and or maybe be a radio to God if you can get that far before your face melts off. But then it ends up just being thrown into the warehouse. Like, what do we think the warehouse means? What are the other things in the warehouse?
Right.
Lorraine's basement.
Isn't it making the point though that all these things that are so special are just in a big they're in a box in a big room somewhere? Like,
yeah, I'm torn between thinking that they either don't appreciate or value its historical significance / the power that it has to melt people's faces, or they do, and that's why it's there to like
I think
protect it.
Just like in The Conjuring with Ed and Lorraine Warren, who are they're exorcists.
Mm-hmm.
They like collect artifacts that are possessed or have like bad vibes and make sure that they don't see the light of day to harm anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's what the warehouse is for.
Like, that's what I'd like to
for
think
dangerous
it is.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's also
Now,
so
isn't
unsettling
this
that
the
there's so
same-
much.
We'll get. I'm sure. Well, we will. We'll figure it out when we get there. The fourth movie. Fourth movie.
I like
think
the fourth movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one with the aliens and Kate Blanchett. I like it.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah,
Poor
there's
Kate
aliens and
Blanchett.
Kate
I hate
Blanchett.
that her name is on that movie. But I think they go back to the same warehouse in that one, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe that warehouse is next to a nuclear testing site. Like, is that the same scene?
I don't know. I just know they end up in one that looks a hell of a lot like
No,
that.
there is no
I
fourth
remember
movie.
seeing that.
I-
Yeah, thank you. This is so true.
Justice for Kate Blanchett.
I have a personal theory that is probably, it's a little out there, but it ties in with what I was saying earlier about the radioactivity and the decaying uranium. If they went in the direction that this is like a nuclear, sort of technology from a forgotten civilization, then this becomes a movie of whoever wins the arc is then able to reverse engineer it and create the atom bomb before the opposing side.
Ooh.
So it's possible that this thing was hiding in a warehouse for the last, 100 years, or it was used and given to people involved in the Manhattan Project, and that's how they were able to figure out nuclear fission. But I don't know. I guess George Lucas doesn't really think that hard about his stories. So
Well, he's just a producer on this one, right?
I think he did the story. Him
He
and
came up with the story, yeah,
and
in
Lawrence
some capacity.
wrote it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, George does think long and hard about certain things. They're just weird, like the midichlorians that make the Force.
He wrote The Phantom Menace in a weekend. That's it.
I mean, that's
Did he
not
really?
exactly the best example.
That's my personal theory. He said he spent decades on it. I don't think so.
Outrageous.
Yeah.
No, there's so much political history there, trade routes and trade.
That's
and
what
alien
people
fish.
There was a hunger for a Star Wars story about trade routes.
I like it. I want the politics. Give me the space politics.
You would love Star Trek. I think Star Trek does it way better.
Oh, okay.
It's true. I've been
Turn-
turned.
It goes from a republic to an empire. It's great. Yeah, this is how democracy ends, not with something, but with thunderous applause. Yeah, so good. We love the prequels. I don't know.
No, I don't want to put my name to that.
Do we want some Indiana Jones prequels?
Yeah, I'm down.
I would take.
Yeah,
some
well, I mean,
Indiana
it does
Jones
kind of
prequels.
exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's seen the Chronicles of Young Indiana Jones?
No,
Oh,
what is
I
that?
I think it's on
Not me.
Disney Plus, or it's going to
It
be
is.
soon.
And I also have them all on DVD.
Good.
Is it a children's show?
Here's the thing. I was going to bring this up earlier. It feels more adult than Indiana Jones the movies do.
Indiana Jones the movies are kids movies. We've been through this.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring that up earlier. I just didn't know if we're talking about Young Indiana Jones. It just the Young Indiana Jones series feels so much more boring and like less action packed, more dialogue driven. You know,
Hey,
there's
Take
like
it.
a new historical figure he hangs out with in every episode.
I love that.
I like it. I like it a lot. I think the main
Interesting.
actor, Sean Patrick Flannery, who was also in the Boondock Saints, really good.
Oh,
He does a really good job.
so it's not River Phoenix. That was going to be my first question.
Not River Phoenix, unfortunately.
how would it be River Phoenix?
Because he's young Indian. Isn't he young Indy in the third movie?
Third one, yeah.
This.
Oh my
this
god! Wow, the time periods are so warped in my head. I'm like, wouldn't he have been gone by then? And now I get no, he wasn't. He wasn't gone. River
Is he
Phoenix, right? He's dead, right?
Now he is, yes.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah, but that was like when he was probably at the height of his child acting career. He
Oh
would have been
gosh,
cast
you
as
see,
young
I
Indy.
always think the Indiana Jones movies happen. Like even I
Wait,
can look up the
who's
dates every time. What?
River Phoenix.
No,
River Phoenix.
he died in his 20s at the outside of the Viper Lounge.
I know. I just always imagined he died in his teens. I forget it was in his 20s.
Why did it have to be snakes?
There it is. Good callback.
Get out of here.
Folks.
I hope none of the Phoenix family are watching right now.
Joaquin is gonna sue you.
All 11 of them are right now.
I was gonna say this Indiana Jones Chronicles.
Yes.
It sounds like Murdoch Mysteries for all our Canadian viewers out there.
I've still
Oh,
never
it's like-
seen Murdoch Mysteries. I
It's
worked with the
great.
guy who played Einstein. Actually, he was in the chat last week. The guy who played Einstein. on
Really?
Murdoch Mysteries.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Oh, that's a good episode.
Is it? I've seen no episodes of it. I just know like everyone's been on it.
Far cuter and far more campy than Indiana Jones.
Good.
As it
It's just
should be.
Canadian television.
Yes.
There's more than Schitt's Creek. Is it all good? No, but it exists.
Hey, we got Sullivan's Crossing.
Oh my!
With Scott Patterson and Chad Michael Murray.
Oh, I know all about Sullivan's Crossing.
Oh,
Well,
fantastic.
yeah. That's a thing that exists. So to take it back to the arc, because I was about to go on to this tangent, but then I got distracted by hilarity. What do we think the movie is saying about magic versus science? So I think that's kind of, if this movie tries to explore any themes, I think that's kind of the big one. I don't think it does it super well, but like the pieces are there. The pieces are there. For a movie that's so fantastical, there's not a truly supernatural moment really until the very end, which I thoroughly enjoy. Like, I like things not to be too heavy-handed with the magic unless it's fully integrated. Like, I like pseudo magical realism, so I enjoy that. But yeah, I read a theory, or not a theory, but someone saying that Indiana's whole journey in this movie is about him struggling with accepting magic over his whole outlook of museum, science, etc., etc. And
Really?
I think I don't know if I fully buy into that. But then also, even in the trailer for Dial of Destiny, he says something like, I've seen a lot of things I can't explain, but I still don't believe in whatever. Like, why is he so, why can't he just accept certain things? What are our
can't he
thoughts on that?
Magic?
Why can't he accept magic when it's
Especially-
right in front of him?
Especially since, like, at the end of the second one, I hate to keep going back to the second one, but it is a prequel, so he would have learned this lesson by this point. But yeah, those glowing rocks, they clearly exhibited magic powers. You know, a guy doing the Kali Ma, tearing a guy's heart out. Best surgeon of all time. You know, that's better than science.
Maybe he's just
Huh.
a Capricorn and he just like likes things by the book, you know? Like
I
he
don't-
no.
I don't know. I'm just like, I've never thought that was a theme, and I don't think I've ever thought that anybody questioning magic had anything to do. I don't know. I just never picked that out before. So now I'm like
Does he have a
mulling it
problem?
over.
Like, does he have a big problem with the magicness?
Like
of
he says towards the beginning, this I'm not going after this for the lore. It's because it's a major historical find and
Yeah.
something like in that scene that's in his house or somebody's house. You get a little bit of
I
it.
guess I just equivalated that to him talking about the power. Like, I'm not going for the power of
Right.
this thing.
Yeah.
And like I think
Um,
it's interesting that at the end, it's all like we almost get a moment of him putting his own personal biases aside and not buying into, but accepting the rules of the magic when he says, Marion, don't look at it, because he
Yeah.
seems to know the rules. But again, the movie doesn't give us context for how he knows that. I think there's a deleted scene that says, don't look at it, because then you'll melt. Which that scene should be in the movie. If that scene was in the movie, I think I'd like the movie more.
Yeah. Maybe it just makes him seem like he knows what he's doing more. If they don't do, and he's like, oh, don't look at it. I know exactly what to do. Like, it is pretty interesting though. I don't know. I never thought about the whole like anyone questioning magic element before. But it is funny because there is a scene where the Nazi guard asks him if he's sure he wants to be messing around with this Jewish ceremony. Is it worth it? So, like, to me, I kind of felt like because it was the Ark of the Covenant, there was almost a more religious aspect than there was a magic aspect, as far as like them being like, yeah, we're going to take this thing because the Nazis don't believe in something weird happening. They're just like, this thing is going to give us power somehow. The guy wants it, right? So I don't think they question it, but they don't like that this thing required to make it work is something that is of the people that they don't like, right? So I feel like that brings in the whole like cultural aspect over, I guess, a paranormal aspect in my eyes.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Alex says he can't do anything about the magic, so he might as well ignore it.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
he's just like like he's just he's accepted the fate of it. Like
Yeah. I mean, and there is also I keep forgetting he's a professor. There is also the fact that he is a professor. Plus, he's also an American. So I think that also has a bit of the stereotype of like 20th century advanced thinking plus professor. It's like scientific, modern thinking up against traditionalist, supernatural, etc., legend, respecting, as it were. So I feel like there is something there that the movie could have dug into that would engage me more. So I love a conflict between magic and science.
Yeah, for sure. I think they needed to explain, like you said already, they needed to explain a lot more what was happening. I think part of it was the mystery, right? They were like, we don't know what happens when we open this thing.
Well, they thought they were going to get to talk to God. It was a transmitter.
Yeah, it's just going to be like a little...
The Nazis thought God would be on
inside the
board,
box.
apparently.
Yeah. Yeah, stupid Nazis.
Like, what did they think was going to happen? There it is. Well, I don't have much else to say about this movie because I don't think there's much to talk about with this movie because it's just fun action sequences. And
it is. I think that it kind of... The one thing I really wanted to get into as far as like the film as a film itself, what it says about Lucas and Spielberg at this time in history, kind of what they're coming out of and what they're both going into. 81 was also the release of a Star Wars, right? Which Star Wars was 81?
Probably would have been Empire.
Yeah. So, give me.
Lawrence Kasdan.
Sorry, one sec.
Lawrence, wow, busy year for these guys.
Wait, what? What else was that year?
If that's true, then Empire Strikes Back was also written by Lawrence Kasdan.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, hold on. We can find out. We can find out.
That's a big year for Lawrence Kasdan. I think he won Best Original Screenplay
For Empire?
for Empire, I think.
Wow.
Or
Oh,
was it
Empire was 1980, so it would have been like right before.
Okay.
Yeah.
back to back.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
can
Yeah, it was around that same time. So I mean, like, I feel that whole action thing, and of course Harrison Ford, right? Like, I guess at that point in history, you really couldn't turn left, right, or up or down without seeing Harrison Ford. So, and then Spielberg, what was E.T.? E.T. was 82, 84.
I think so.
Like,
yeah.
And Close Encounters of the Third Kind, I think, had already happened at this point. So it's just like, I don't know. I feel like it's interesting that so much big stuff was happening, but that this was a series and he was doing, like, I don't know. Spielberg to me is more of an interesting trajectory than George Lucas is. Lucas is kind of just like, it's Star Wars and it's a home run. Like, that's pretty much it. But to watch what Spielberg does, kind of how different everything is too. Like, look at this and look at E.T.
Mm-hmm.
And like, what? It's wild. It's wild to me how different his movies are at that point in history.
Yeah, he has a variety. Like, everything he's done throughout his career, there's some really bad stuff, like BFG.
Oh.
And then there's just some really beautiful things.
Like West Side Story.
Oh
yeah, West Side Story, gorgeous. And then on his resume, he has West Side Story and Indiana Jones. So two very different.
And Schindler's List. It goes all over.
Yeah. But like this specific time in history, it's wild. And then to literally watch, what is this? This is 81. So within the same decade, right? We go, well, I'm the same decade because Jurassic Park was slightly outside of that time frame. But
it's like 92, I think, or 3. Yeah.
To then literally start a whole new era of himself with that, which I would argue was kind of the end of this era of his films. Like, the action, everything felt a little more, like, looking back, it does feel a little retro. Whereas, like, starting with around Jurassic Park, I feel like it stops feeling that way.
Yeah.
And starts feeling more modern. I don't know. That's But looking at Indiana Jones, I don't think you can ignore the fact that it's like this kind of, is it the middle of his time? I don't know, maybe the beginning of the middle for Spielberg, and kind of what begins getting him through the 80s.
Yeah, like, I think it's interesting, like, looking at it for where it falls with George Lucas and Spielberg, because it definitely feels to me like they were in a place in their careers where they could do anything they wanted, and this is what they picked for just like the nostalgic value that we touched on earlier, and they just decided we want to make something that emulates the type of stuff that we loved as kids, and they just did it, but they did it well with a good budget, and they did it with like good filmmaking mentality, as opposed to the really low budget, like charmingly cheap serials like Flash Gordon and whatever that would have inspired this. So it definitely has the feel of a passion project for me. Yeah, and like, I definitely think that this wouldn't, I question if this would have done as well if it came out without their names attached to it, or without the legacy of, like, this is the guy who did Star Wars alongside the guy who did Jaws and everything. Because, like, I do feel like Star Wars is a better, well, the first movie, I feel like New Hope is a better constructed first movie than this is. I think this is a flashier movie in some respect, but I question if Star Wars could have been made on the coattails of Indiana Jones, the same way Indiana Jones was made on the coattails of Star Wars.
I firmly believe no. I don't think you can because Star Wars, if you watch it, and it's hard to ever really watch it with fresh eyes unless you are someone who is literally watching it with fresh eyes. But if you watch that and just really just think about everything you're watching and hearing, it gets rather ridiculous. And as silly as this movie can get, if you tear it apart, it is just an action movie. It's pure and simple. It's an action movie. There's nothing too outlandishly crazy here. But there's some like wild stuff, especially for the time that nobody had seen in a movie for Star Wars. So like, no, I firmly do not believe this would have gotten Star Wars made. I think the fact that Star Wars was able to be a success, being as wild as it was, then was like, okay, well, because I think this would have just been like cool action movie. But instead people were hyped, right? And like this one may not necessarily be anything special other than it's a Harrison Ford vehicle. Like,
oh yeah, and again, the Star Wars connection, because he already had the Star Wars fame and the Star Wars
it doesn't it doesn't work if it's not him. I'm sure there were lots of other stars that they thought of for this, and I'm sure it's documented well somewhere.
Tom Selleck.
Alan Alda.
Oh, there you go.
What?
Alan Alda. Oh, I don't.
Wild.
Isn't he the grandpa in Little Miss Sunshine?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Alan Arkin.
Oh, Arkin. Who's
That's Alan Arkin.
Alda?
Alan Alda is MASH.
Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, MASH.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
No, but either one, questionable casting for this.
It would have been a choice, that's for sure.
Alan Arkin
Yeah.
in Catch 22.
Yeah.
I never saw
That's a
that.
classic. Can I?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry. Are you done talking?
No, yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. I just want to. I'm sorry. I
He
don't
doesn't
mean
want
cover- I-
to. He doesn't want to be all intrusive.
No,
you're
intrude.
good.
Vince, intrude.
Please.
I really like Belloc as a villain. I know we talked about him a little bit, but there were two scenes in particular I like. I like the one where Marion tried to drink him under the table. And with anyone else, it would have worked. And then you find out this guy grew up, his family producing liquor. And that's why she met her match. And I thought that was kind of clever. But more importantly, we haven't talked about the scene towards the end of the film where he eats a fly.
He
Why
does.
does
Wow.
he eat a fly?
Is
It's a
anyone-
blooper, yeah.
No, this is in the final cut of the film.
No, I know. I mean, like, it's like
Right.
supposed to happen.
It's the scene
Like, does it just fly into his mouth?
it lands on his face and then crawls to his lip and enters. And it's the scene where Indy's pointing an RPG at the Ark, and he says,
Oh, yeah.
and they punch in on Belloc's face, and he says something to Indiana Jones. I never remember what, because I'm watching this fly dance on his lips and then fly in. And in an interview, the actor says he has no recollection of that happening.
That's
So,
funny.
Now that's acting.
that is acting.
that
That
is
is committed
acting.
to the craft.
Anyway, that's
for
a
him.
million shot. I love that that's in the movie.
Wow.
Good for him.
That's like,
See, I would've-
that's like the stormtrooper hitting his head in A New Hope for me.
Like, I would have loved it more if he knew it was there and then just went with it. Like,
Oh, that would have been gold.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I would have done. Well, I don't know if I would have done that. I'd like to think I would have done that if I were Belloc. The other thing that I love about Belloc, I love how he's introduced. You just get the sense that there's this broad history between him and Indy, but they don't tell you what it is. And this is a case where I enjoy not being given context.
Yes.
They have such a firmly cemented relationship that I don't need to
Mhm.
know what it is. I could just see that it's there. Which
Yeah, I
love,
was
like,
gonna
yeah.
say I also like that Belloc, like there's like almost 3 levels of villains in this movie. Like Belloc is kind at some points, and he's doing it. You get the feeling he really is just an Indy that's willing to like waffle more to the bad side than the good side.
Right.
He's kind of another, right? But then you have like the soldiers who are just doing what they're told because they're soldiers and they're buttheads. And then there's the, Judge Doom, whatever
you.
that guy's name is. Yeah. And then he's like supposed to be the real evil, right? As is connotated by his little round glasses, hat, and black cloak, right? Like I love that the visual cues in this movie. These are soldiers, they look like soldiers. This is a British gentleman or a French gentleman. He's in a nice beige suit. This guy is bad. He's in all black. And then the guy with the swords. This is the bad sword guy because he's in red and black. And like we're supposed to know that everybody who's bad is wearing some red or some black. So like,
Except for Marion. Marion
except
has
for
red.
Marion.
Yeah.
But then past the red outfit, she's in white dresses like the rest of the
Yeah.
time. So this is the woman. This is the maiden. Like, even though she's like so brassy and like I never once in this movie fear for her safety because I'm like, this girl's pretty cool. She's been living in Nepal, like holding her own. I don't think that she needed anybody, but whatever.
Yeah, she's scrappy. She can take care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, and also justice for the monkey who died. That
That-
broke my
I
heart.
hate that scene every time. I always forget it's coming and it makes
know.
me so
Monkey
sad.
was a
I
Nazi.
can't.
That monkey was a Nazi collaborator. I have
Was
no-
it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is
Yeah,
this
but it was
canon?
collaborating with a local
Yeah.
man who was collaborating. It was like 3
Oh,
degrees.
That's the Nuremberg defense.
That monkey doesn't know. That monkey doesn't know the
No,
Nuremberg.
the monkey was only taking orders.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry for bringing up the Nuremberg trials.
Jesus.
That's
No,
valid. though.
that monkey was born into a political circumstance it didn't understand.
Oh,
It's not the innocent monkey's fault.
we gotta watch The Reader now.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Is that what The Reader's about with Kate Winslet?
Yeah, she like is on trial because like I don't want to ruin it.
She
I don't.
poisoned
I'm
Yeah,
not. Well,
It's
well,
yeah, like she has something to do with like World War II in the Nazi regime. But you don't. Yeah, just go watch it.
Okay.
Really
Kate
great.
Winslet. It's probably fantastic.
Lots of good nude scenes in it.
Kate Winslet nude? God, she really loves doing that, doesn't she?
yeah, no,
And
but she's
good at
like
it.
she announced that she stopped.
Down
She said
all
no
the
more.
time.
Yeah, she
I
said no
think they're
more.
retiring her nude scenes,
Okay.
and not the
okay.
sex scenes. She.
I
will
would say it would speak volumes more if she would do more now at this
No,
age.
Right?
do like not full frontal nudity.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which
She
is
doesn't want Jack to draw her anymore.
it can get boring after a while. Yeah.
He's
He's the monkey from Pinocchio, Alex says.
I don't know what that means.
I
What
don't
monkey is? Oh, the Guillermo
From the live
Pinocchio?
action? Oh, the Guillermo one. Okay.
Guillermo one, the Kate Blanchett.
No, that's Kate
one.
Blanchett.
Oh, right. It all comes back around.
Full circle. Kate Blanchett.
Nudity, Kate Blanchett, and monkeys. It's the Venn diagram that's a circle.
Yes.
Yes. There we are. Yeah, and like unrelated to all the things, I just wanted to say, reason I also like Belloc in his introduction scene is it reminds me of National Treasure, and I love that movie.
I have
Like
not
one of the
seen
first
National
scenes.
Treasure.
Yeah, National Treasure. It's not nearly as good of a
been
movie,
years.
I feel, as this, objectively speaking, but I just like it more because it gives me all the things I want. There's adventure alongside history and information, where they're like, we're going here because of this thing happened in like 200 years ago, etc., etc. So therefore, we have to go to this artifact, and the dollar bill says this. It's great. There we are. Alex, it's not how you spell Kate Blanchett.
Yeah, get out of here, Alex.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Done.
With a C.
What? Anything else people want to talk about with this movie before we go to the game?
Yes.
Lisa has a thing. Go.
It would be remiss of us to not talk about the extras in brownface in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Where? When? Well, probably
The
The whole
movie.
time.
The whole movie.
The whole
yeah.
time.
And the
The
indigenous.
whole time. The whole time.
And the indigenous people in the beginning. All I'm saying is it seems like when they were when they were shooting on location, it seemed like they could have hired local talent
Oh,
to
of course they
just
could
to
have.
be a crowd. Why did they have to put white people in brown face? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Do better. Do better.
I was happier before I noticed or knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It must have been the
sorry.
same self tanner that they were using on Harrison Ford because boy,
Yeah.
is that a bronze.
Just a little bit more. It's the same kind of thing that they did with a Cary Grant movie in like the 50s or
Which-
40s.
Cary Grant, which movie?
I think it was like To Catch a Thief when they're like
Okay.
in Morocco. And it's just like a bunch of white guys in brown face. And you're just like, you're in Morocco. You literally shot in Morocco. Why didn't you just hire some locals?
You know what it is? And this is literally, I don't know about in the 80s, but back then, they literally, people didn't understand what color people were in that country, and they wanted them to be a specific color in their movie. Yeah, it's sad because they're thinking
Mhm.
right a certain color, and they're like, oh, these Moroccan people aren't what we're looking for.
Even
Right,
though they're
sure.
All
shooting
messed up,
in
but back
Morocco.
then that was a big part of it.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. Anyway, it's the 80s. They should have done better.
They
So-
should.
Oh yeah, by 1981.
But it gets better in the second
Temple of Doom? I was about to say that's not the case in Temple of Doom, is it? I
No,
feel
they
like
just
they're all
go
legit.
straight to the racial jokes instead of
They go
Oh,
to
do
the
they?
people in brown face.
and then they at the end they really hone in the white saviorism. But more on that next week.
There's all kinds of Temple of Doom is a hoot nanny, but boy is it ripe with some discussion points for 2023.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I hope it does. Oh,
And this
I
is
hope I
coming from the
still
girl
like
that
it.
wants the professor to sleep with their students. You're in for a hoot.
Okay, time for the game. Here we go.
Moving on. Moving on. Moving on.
Right. Let me pull up my notes.
Game.
So the game is called Does It Belong in a Museum? I'm going to show you a picture of a historical artifact that has
Okay.
been stolen and is on display by a museum somewhere in the world. And you get 1 point if you tell me what like the country of origin is or what country this artifact is supposed to be in. And then you can get another point if you tell me what it's called.
Okay, hold on.
Wait, hang on. So there's 3 points?
No, there's 2 points. Like you don't get a point for telling me what museum.
Oh, I thought you were asking us if it belongs in a museum or not.
Oh no, all these things are in museums and they don't belong there.
Okay.
They're all stolen artifacts.
Okay, hold
That
on.
makes it easier.
But are we answering what country of origin it's from, or what country?
Yes.
Okay, of origin.
Origin and then what it is. Or
And then if
its
you know the name of the piece
or like what the item is.
yeah, then you can also get a point.
So we have to say the current country and not the country. Like, say if it's
Country of origin. Like
Yeah, like
where
if
it
you
came
if you know the historical name of the country, and I'll accept it. If you could tell me what the name of the country is right now, that wants it back.
Constantinople.
Okay, so if I said like the Persian Empire, that's too broad. That's a half.
Technically, like ideally, I'm looking for what the name of the country is right now because
Okay.
it's like the argument is this country right now wants the British. Most of these are in the British Museum. You don't get a point for telling me where it is. So just so you know, most of these are in the British Museum. So it came from X country wants the British Museum to give them back this thing.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's the country as it's called right now. But like, if you know the original name of the country, then I'll give you the same point anyway, just because. Yeah,
Nope.
and it was harder to find this information than I thought it would be. So there will probably be some like inaccuracies with my information, but like if you can prove me wrong, you get more points. So there we go. Here we go. Share screen.
Okay.
Share screen. Here we are. There we are. So that is our first artifact. So I need to know what country this should be going back to.
Oh shit.
And if you know what it's called, extra point. And yes, it's in the British Museum. They have a lot of stolen stuff there. Okay, we'll let Vince go first because he's our first timer guest. Feel free to play along in the comments as well. Okay, everyone ready?
I'm ready.
Sure.
Okay. Vince, you go first. Where does it belong?
Okay, I'm gonna guess that it belongs in Iraq.
Iraq. Okay. And what did you call it?
I called it the Wall of Might.
Okay. Ooh.
That's a good
I saw a wall of mice. I like that. Lisa.
Okay, Greece.
Mhm.
A Trojan War carving.
Yes.
Okay. Rome, relief of Roman soldiers.
Nice. Well, one of
Because they call things reliefs.
they
which
do.
sound fancy.
That is a relief.
Well, none of you got the name of the thing right, but one of you got the country, and it was Greece.
Yes, sweet. I almost said Greece.
Yeah, no, this
Glad
is
Lisa
one
got
of the
it.
more prominent ones. These are the Parthenon marbles. So they have all of this, well, not all of it. They have a ton of stuff from the Parthenon that should be back
At the
at the
Parthenon.
Parthenon. Yeah, and like to the point where people have said, we'll make plaster casts for you that will look identical. They're like, no, it's ours. It needs to be displayed so people can see it. I'm like,
Yeah.
they can display a replica. They're like, no, they're British. No, it's ours. It needs to be displayed so we can say it.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Next. Boom.
Oh,
Again, this is
God.
also in the British Museum.
Oh,
I know what this is, but I don't know where it's from.
I know
Oh,
what that is.
I just realized part of the answer is in the picture.
Oh, I literally didn't
Oops.
even look over there.
Don't look.
I
Don't
really
look there.
did know what I really did know what it is.
Don't look there.
Ready?
Wait, what
where is
country
this
is
from?
it in?
don't know.
Oh my God.
I will say it wasn't the country I thought it was, although I didn't know.
No, it's not.
Oh no.
Ah, shh.
Except the reason for that was because I was conflating it with something else that's very different, but just has a similar name, but it's very different.
Oh, good lord.
Mhm.
Okay, we'll see.
All right, we'll start with Jeanette this time.
I only know the ancient name for this, and I don't think it's right either. But
So where is Sumeria now?
Sumeria?
Sumer-
I think it's literally called like it's not Sumeria, but it's called. Let me see. Hold on. Modern day Sumeria.
Okay,
Sumer.
Rosetta?
Sumer.
Okay, okay. That might maybe you'll get a point.
Kick myself.
I don't know enough about geography. Lisa.
Rosetta Stone, Ethiopia.
Okay, Vince.
That was the answer I wanted.
guess the Rosetta Stone in Egypt.
We were looking for Rosetta Stone in Egypt. That is correct.
Oh, nice.
Man.
I was gonna say it says South Central Iraq is where Sumer is.
See, is it just me or what new? Who is that? Do we know who that is?
Is it just
Hi, friend.
me or what?
Hi,
I don't
friend.
know, but that's a good username.
Friend.
Yeah, I mean, I realized that I was confusing it with the Blarney Stone from Ireland. So
No, I don't think anybody's peeing on this one.
no, I know what they do that. I
People
thought you
pee
kissed
on
it.
it because the tourists go there and kiss it. They go,
Yeah.
people pee on it.
That's
Oh.
terrible and hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay. Next. Now it's not the crown, it's the diamond on top.
Oh, oh, oh!
Okay.
Oh,
Does Lisa know?
It was like such a thing in the news recently because of Charles.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
sweet. Is it just me or what has confirmed? We don't know them.
Okay,
Welcome, new friend.
welcome.
Welcome.
Um,
Now, I will say, again, I did a very quick amount of research for this. So there are 4 possible countries I'll accept as an answer for who want the diamond back. You
But
have a 1 in
not,
4 shot.
but not a continent.
Not a continent, no. No, not a continent.
And you want to know about the gem?
Yeah,
at the
yeah, not the
top.
crown. Just
Okay,
the,
yeah,
the
okay, that's
giant
what I
diamond
figured.
at the top of it.
Okay. Mm.
Mhm. This is also an artifact that I can't pronounce confidently. So I'm going to write its name down and then just put it up on screen.
is it just me or what? You are not an ugly American. I'm sure you're a fine looking American.
Exactly. All Americans are beautiful.
you heard it here, folks. It's theirs.
It's-
Did you steal my answer?
maybe.
Oh,
Are you cheating off of one another?
Maybe.
Okay. Let's start with Lisa.
Okay, I think it's from India and it's the heart of the sea. I think I'm confusing.
Isn't that the name of the diamond that the
Titanic?
old lady throws into the water?
It's the heart of the ocean, but okay. Um,
ocean.
Jeanette, what do you think?
I don't know. I put crown jewel. It's a blood diamond, I think. Africa, which is the continent. So I guess Niger or Liberia.
Okay. Vince?
I guessed the eye of the sea. I put that in wrong.
Eye of the
from
sea. It's
India.
the heart of
I believe it was stolen from India. That's my
Well, India was one of the countries that I was willing to accept,
Dang it.
and India is seemingly, I think, the most prominent country that it either belongs in or is trying to get it back. I also would have accepted Iraq, Pakistan, or Afghanistan,
Oh wow.
and that is its name.
The Koh-i-Noor.
Oh, I
I'm
have
moving
heard about
around.
this before.
Yes.
Why?
Iraq,
Yeah.
India. I feel like every country wants a piece.
Yeah, everyone wants the diamond.
Pretty
cool.
diamonds.
It looks pretty all right.
Next, it's a kitty. It's a kitty statue.
I've never seen this before.
Did
Neither
one-
had I. It sounds really cool though. There's an organ inside, and it's kind
Oh,
of
I
like
thought it was a torture device that you put somebody inside of it and close
no.
it. It looks
So
like
that's
a
an
bed of
organ. It's kind of
nails.
like a music box, except instead
Ah.
of playing music, it plays the sounds of the guy getting mauled, like the cries and the screams of him being killed. And I think there might be some movement to it as well of the kitty eating.
So we want to know the country that
The
wants it
country
back.
of origin. that wants us back from England.
Hmm.
And I believe it's a Bengal tiger, but I'm not positive. Well, I mean, obviously it's not a real tiger. It's a statue of a tiger. But
Well, I guess you want the actual name of the item then, because we've just said what it is.
what, Kitty Music Box?
Yeah, the musical instrument. Okay.
I mean, I'm open to seeing what you think it was called. Let's start with Jeanette.
Hold on, I hadn't come up with a clever name for what it's
Oh,
called.
we'll come back to Jeanette.
Come back
Vince.
to me.
We'll start with Vince.
I'm guessing that it's called Cute Cat Eats Man,
Okay.
and it's from Cambodia.
Cambodia. Okay. Cute Cat Eats Man from Cambodia. Lisa?
I think it's from Pakistan, and I think it's called The Life of Pi.
Is that what happens in Life of Pi on that boat?
Yeah.
I've never seen Life of Pi. One day.
It's great. You could see it on Broadway or the West End.
Is it on Broadway? I thought it was just West End.
I don't know. Wherever. It's
Yeah,
whatever.
puppets. I love puppets.
Yeah.
Jeanette.
I never came up with a clever name. I just said Tiger Organ,
Tiger.
and I said Thailand.
Tigerland. Yeah. No, it's from India.
Oh, I almost put
And
India.
it
but-
is, I believe it's pronounced Tipu's tiger or Tipu apostrophe S. Tipu's tiger? Tipu's tiger? Someone's tiger. Now, I don't know if the name of the guy is the guy who's getting mauled by the tiger or the person who owned it, but either way, I want this.
This looks like sex. That's what I thought when I first saw it.
It's that scene in Lion King.
But with Nala and the seductive eyes. Can you feel the mauling tonight?
Nice.
Next.
Oh,
Now, this isn't like one specific thing.
is that
It's a bunch of things. And this is just like one example of them. Alex says not mauled, loved.
Um.
All right, let's start with Lisa.
I think it's from Ethiopia, and
Okay.
it's Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
Oh, Lucy in the sky with diamonds. Jeanette?
I said it was from New Zealand, but Maori. I think that's the people. I don't know if that's the area or the people. And then
Okay.
Shrunken Heads.
Okay. Vince?
I also put New Zealand, and I guessed Maori face tattoos.
Well, Jeanette, you were right on the money.
Oh, sweet.
It was all of the, well, indigenous tribes of New Zealand, but like I
Yes.
wrote New Zealand. But yes. I'm well
Wonderful.
done.
So wait, hold on. Did Vince get anything? He
Yeah,
New
Vince
Zealand?
also got 2 because I accepted his answer as well.
Oh, what the heck? This is hard.
I thought you were copying answers from each other.
Clearly not.
He has to believe that he's right first.
Next.
Oh,
Oh, beautiful.
Lucy in the sky with diamonds. Lucy in the sky.
I don't know how to spell her name.
Spell it out. It's
Just
pretty-
sound it out. Just sound it out. We'll start with Lisa.
Egypt, the bust of Nefertiti.
Okay. Jeanette?
Egypt, the bust of Nefertiti.
All right. Vince?
I put Egypt, Nefertiti's bust.
You're all correct.
That's
Yeah, that's a classic example of copy my homework, but change it a little bit.
And as they say, I must increase my bust.
Us.
We love Judy Bloom.
or anything.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, is that who that is?
Yeah, it's
I
from
thought
Are You
that
There,
was Lord-
God. It's me, Margaret.
Oh, that's Lords of Acid. Sorry, that's a
Oh.
song.
Oh, I was thinking Judy Bloom. But I mean, I haven't read that book, but I watched the documentary and it's so good. I didn't realize that she was such a shit disturber, and I love her for it. The woman who wrote the Fudge books, so good.
Long live Judy Bloom.
Long live Judy Bloom. She's still with us, and I hope she never leaves. Well,
Knock on wood, she's old.
I know. And I don't want her to be cursed with eternal life, which is why I hesitated after saying that, because she deserves better. I just want Judy Bloom to be happy. That's all I want.
Yeah.
Next. Now, it's not the people, it's the things that they're looking at.
Oh.
All right, and once again, no continent, only a country, right?
Yes, country.
I keep
No
wanting to
continent.
say Africa. Oh. Gosh.
I don't know.
Now, this is
I don't
another one of the
either.
more prominent things that the British Museum has that I think people are actively trying to get back. Also, fun fact, the British Museum's website has a whole section where they're like, these are the things that people said we stole. Here's our side of the story, which is funny.
Really?
Well, I didn't delve too deep into it because it was convoluted. Well, it wasn't convoluted. It was a lot of stuff to read, and I threw this game together in like 45 minutes. But there is a dedicated section where they say, this is what's been contested. This is where it came from. Like, this is the history of the thing. This is why it came to the museum. This is the claim being made. This is why they want it back. This is what we're doing. So I think it's like as objective as it can be, but at the same time, like, you put in the effort to make this part of the website. Just give it back.
Yeah.
Just give it back.
Give back.
Yeah. Anyway, here we are. Lisa, what do you think these are?
I think they're a bunch of stoners from Tibet.
Oh my gosh. No, again, not the people.
No.
Lisa, not the people. We're looking for the things they're looking at.
As a stoner, I'm offended.
I love it. Oh,
Vince?
that's so funny.
I'm pretty sure this is incorrect, but I guessed Inca carved reliefs from
Okay.
Peru.
Peru, okay. Jeanette?
Oh my God. I'm writing it. I don't know. I know it's not right. Mongolia, which I don't even know where Mongolia is nowadays. I'll figure it out in a second here. And story or history plates.
No,
Yeah.
we were looking for the Benin bronzes from Nigeria.
Oh.
Oh my freaking God. Are you kidding me? I wrote Nigeria and then I crumpled it up and I threw it away. And I was like, no.
I
no.
You
love
can't,
when
you
that
can't just go around guessing random country in Africa. That's
That
not
was
right.
this was the one. This was
This
Oh
was
wait,
it.
I
Are
can't
you kidding me?
I can't tell you
I'm
future answers,
don't-
but this
don't
was the
be-
one.
I was like, don't be awful and just guess a random country in Africa. That's not nice.
Sometimes gambles pay
Freaking
off.
wrote Nigeria.
Sometimes gambles pay off.
Next.
You're gonna make me guess another African country now. Thanks a
I think
lot.
that's what Matt's getting us to do.
Thanks a lot.
Now, I will say that this one, I think this might be the first that's not in the British Museum. This is being held in Russia, in a museum in Russia.
Where did Russia
Russia?
colonize?
They have
Yeah.
museums in Russia.
They- Yeah, and I want to dig more into this. I think, okay, I probably totally misread this during my haphazard brief research and throwing the game together. I think Russia rewrote their laws, so that's not illegal for them to have this. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I think they made an amendment so that legally.
Well,
within
you
Russia,
know,
they're
I
allowed
just
to
think
have
it's
this.
really awful because somebody should just give Cher back her stuff. It's not.
Not sure.
Tell me that's not Cher's. Oh, jeez.
Okay, let's start with Vince this time.
I'm guessing Aztec jewelry from Mexico.
Oh, Mexico. I love Mexico. I went to where? Chichen Itza. So beautiful.
Oh,
pyramids that look like steps, that are steps. You're not allowed to climb them anymore because people graffitied the ancient pyramids, but once upon a time you could, before my days. Beautiful. Love it. Lisa.
As Jeanette goes first.
Okay.
Okay, Jeanette.
Why don't you spell that?
Indonesia. Royal jewelry.
Royal jewelry. Okay. Lisa.
I'm not showing it because I spelled the country wrong.
You
But
gotta show it.
How'd you spell it?
no,
It's not that bad.
no. Kazakhstan royal jewels.
We're looking for King Priam's treasure from Turkey.
Oh, I was close.
That
I was
hurts.
in
You were pretty close.
the region.
You were in the region. I'll give you a
Oh,
point.
good. I'm glad I didn't show
You're
you
in the
my
region.
original
Good
answer of
point.
Kenya.
Yeah. I'll give you a point. You're in the region.
There you go, babe.
For my incorrect
Yeah.
spelling of
Yeah,
Kazakhstan.
you're close. You were close enough. Okay, what's next? Hold on. This thing.
Okay.
Oh,
Now, is this in the British Museum?
I think it is. Yes, it is.
Is this a trick question?
No.
So there is another country asking for it back because it looks an awful lot like an old British, like actual people.
There
from
is
that
another
area.
country. Yeah, there's a country that's not England or Britain
Not
that
them.
wants it back.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not British or English or anything Arthurian.
Okay.
Oh, I'm still gonna say this.
Okay. Let's start with Lisa then. She seems confident.
what's it called?
No, I don't know. I think it's from Scotland. Justice for the Scots,
Okay.
and it's a shield.
Never take away our freedom.
Yeah.
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 Vince?
I guessed that it's a Zulu shield from Zimbabwe.
Okay.
I don't think it is.
Jeanette?
I just guessed another European country over there, Germany, and it's a shield.
Well, you'll all get a point for saying shield. So there we are. Now, it's an Aboriginal shield, which is what should be returned to New South Wales in Australia.
Ah,
Wow.
And it's not actually that old. I think it's from the 1700s. It
Is
looks
that
a lot older.
It's wood.
Yeah, it is wood. It's carved from some kind of tree, obviously because
Eucalyptus.
it's wood. And actually, this is one of the things that I picked from the part of the British Museum's website where they're like, "This is it. This is why we have it. We're not giving it back." It says something like, "It's made out of this kind of wood. This type of tree has never grown in this region of Australia. Therefore, it can't be proven that it's from this whatever." They were like, "Therefore, finders keepers."
doesn't grow in your neck of the woods either, does it?
Right?
So does it belong there? Did we just find where that tree grows?
I think this might actually
Wow.
be one of these pieces. I think it's this one. They lent it out to a museum in Australia and then they just wanted to keep it. And then British Museum said, "No, send it back." And they did. But
Give us
that
back
was
our
what
piece
started
of
it.
old wood.
Exactly. King Charles? Okay. Boom.
Oh,
Oh, I used to know the actual names. of these
Yeah.
things.
Oh, I don't need the actual name. Is it just me or what guess that the other one was drawer handle, Ireland? That would guess.
Where it's on the tip of my tongue. I don't know.
Okay, let's start with Jeanette.
I want to call them something else, but I don't know. So, hold on. I know there's a name for them, but I'm you're just gonna write this. Yeah.
Easter Island. How's your head?
Oh my
I
god.
got no complaints.
Easter Island
Easter
guy.
Island guy. Easter Island.
Are you quoting Elvira?
Yes. Yes. Specifically Elvira on RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking the Elvira movie from the 80s.
It's from that. It is.
Yeah.
No complaints.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lisa.
I got this wrong. New Zealand manhead.
Okay. Okay. Vince.
I guessed Easter Island, a Moa statue, aka an Easter Island head.
Easter Island head from Easter Island is correct.
Sweet.
The actual, I can't remember the actual name. I don't think it starts with an
Here,
M. I
hold
think
on, I'm
it starts
gonna
with
look it
an
up.
H.
I'm gonna look it up because it definitely starts with an M. It sounds like we already said Maori, but Maori. It's something like it. Hold on. Okay. The Moai.
Oh, right. Yes.
I missed an I.
Oops.
Yeah. I was gonna say you sound so close. I almost just wrote Maori again. I was like, that's not right.
All right. So point tallies before the bonus round. Vince has 10. Jeanette has 9. Lisa has 7. How do we want to wager? Vince, you'll go first. You've seen this game enough.
I'll bet 9.
9. Okay. Lisa?
All in.
All in. Okay. Jeanette?
All in.
All in. This is a trivia question. Here we go.
Okay.
So, what country is the Ark of the Covenant widely accepted to reside in right now in real life?
You were making sure we were paying attention.
Oh no, this might be a controversial answer.
And if you could tell me the town, you can double
Town?
your wager.
But
Wow.
what?
Well, I thought just country would be hard enough, but like 5 minutes into the conversation, that piece of knowledge was dropped. So
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect everyone to know so much.
I don't quite know the burbs of this particular country, so I don't know if I know the town.
All right, let's start with Jeanette.
I've got Ethiopia.
Okay. Lisa?
Israel, Jerusalem.
Israel. Okay. Vince?
I guessed Ethiopia. Tana Kirkos is the name of the town. I don't know.
Do
We were
much
looking for-
traveling in Ethiopia, Vince?
We were looking for Askum in Ethiopia.
Ask him what.
I don't. Where's the ark? So yes, Ethiopia was correct. Vince, wait, does Vince win? 19 versus 18.
Yes.
Yes, Vince wins.
All right, beginner's luck, everybody.
Good job.
Thank you.
I thought it was such a tough question. Then, like, the first thing Vince says when he joins the stream is, "Oh yeah, it's in Ethiopia," and I was like, "Well,
Well, you said it too. You said there's like 5 commonly accepted places,
I know.
right?
There are numerous, but Ethiopia is the big one.
yeah."
Yeah, they trace like a lineage of kings back to Marduk, who's mentioned in the Bible. And apparently, like Marduk gave the ark to his son, who brought it someplace else.
Mhm.
And they talk about it a little bit in Raiders of the Lost Ark, in that scene where they're on the stage for some reason.
Mhm.
It's interesting stuff. Who knows?
It is.
Yay!
Yay, Vince!
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, it sounds like only one person at a time is able to like look after it, like you said, Vince. And yeah, it's one monk at a time. And even like the rest of the people that are living with the monk, they don't even get to see it.
Yep.
So yeah. Like, do we think it's actually there?
They got
Do we think it exists?
They got something like, I think maybe they've got something they think is the ark, and it's actually a hunk of decaying uranium. That's possible.
Or it's a stone box.
Or a box, yeah.
Stone
You
box.
know?
And the cataracts are just from guarding
Old
a stone
age.
box in a.
It's from they're in a dark room all day
Yeah.
and they're trying to read their book, and that will give you cataract. If
That-
read
there
in
you
the
go.
What
dark.
like you cataracts?
Reading in the dark?
Yeah.
Messes with the rods and the cones.
Oh my god, I need to get proper lighting to read now.
Yeah.
Lisa, why are you reading in the dark?
I'm not reading
By
in the dark.
candlelight? Like your Harry Potter.
It's
under
so
the stairs?
romantic. I feel like I'm Jane Eyre.
Liz has got all the lights off in one candle.
Oh my god. Okay, well, there we go. Anything? Closing statements on Raiders of the Lost Ark. I think we're all excited to talk about Temple of Doom more. At least I am.
It's a
Using
good
the royal
kickoff to the series. I think it's nice and light. There's not too much there. It's a good movie though.
Well said. Well said. Oh, apparently Funko has the Ark of the Covenant.
Oh,
I'd believe it. Somewhere in Funko HQ. Lisa, Vince, what closing thoughts on Raiders?
After you.
Look, I love this movie. I always have ever since I was a kid. I see now why not everyone thinks it's one of the top 5 best films ever made, and I respect those opinions. I highly recommend Young Indiana Jones for anyone who hasn't seen it. You know, it's fun. There's almost no supernatural elements in it at all. So do with that as you will. Yeah, no, great being here.
Nice. Lisa?
I'm happy I watched it. I am now a Karen Allen fan. That's it.
Aren't we all?
Yes.
Brilliant. All right, friends. Well, it's the time. Tell all the people all the things. We'll start with Jeanette.
Hello. I'm Tinker J. You can find me here on Teacup for One, and you can find me on We Like Theme Parks. New episode every Thursday, so you can go find the new episode today. We had a little Disney DJ. So we talked about our favorite Disney music. And then soon you can catch me on my Instagram, and I will be down in the big WDW.
Woo! We love the WDW. Thank you,
Yes.
Jeanette.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first so you know what to do.
Thank you.
I'm Lisa. You can catch me here most weeks reviewing movies with Matt and the gang. You can follow me on Instagram at Lisa_A_Alves and my small business at Lisa Alves Creations, where I crochet some fun things like scarves, accessories, and flowers. And if you're in Toronto, follow at Cahoots Theater, where I produce a lot of shows and where we got 10 Dora nominations for our last 2 major productions. That's me.
That's huge. Hey everyone, my name is Vince. It's been a pleasure being here. You know, I used to be some guy hanging out in the comments section, and look where I am now. All you in the comments, everyone in the comments, there's hope for all of us. And also, Alex, I'm sorry I didn't get to meet you this week, but I'm looking forward to meeting you at some point in the future. And also, Ben, the guy who spent money 5 times to see Elvis, can't wait to meet him. And everyone else, and Morgan and Lauren. Anyway, you can follow me on Instagram at Vinny Ridge Media or TikTok at just Vinny Ridge.
Brilliant. Thank you, friends. And I'm Matt. This is my channel. If you're watching, there's 10 of you watching. If all 10 of you hit the like button and write a comment, it helps the algorithm. Please do it. Write anything. I don't care. Until then, join us next week. Same time, same place. It's going to be next Thursday, 8 p.m. We're going to talk about Temple of Doom. And in between that, I'll probably keep posting shorts of at least one Funko every day. And at some point, I'll do full-length videos again, hopefully this weekend. I saw Hamilton. I have a video for that. Maybe it'll come out on Saturday or Sunday. We'll find out together. But until then, everyone, my name is Matt, and I have 2 degrees. And this has been the Tea Cup for One. How do you end this?